So hey guys, what's up? Hope you all are doing great and staying safe. I'm Sid, your host for the day. I'm sure most of you must be quarantined or staying at home. So Print Shop by Designhill is back again with a new workshop. Letter like a pro with everyday office supplies with a very awesome Catalina. Her great passion is letters in all its forms, whether colors or representations. She's the founder of ElTintero and teaches calligraphy and lettering in the ElTintero workshops. She is also a professor at University of Sciences and Art and at the Latin University of Costa Rica. Also, she specializes in stationery design and wedding and invitations and basically any project involving lettering. So before we start, let me give you a brief about Printshop by Designhill, which is an online platform dedicated to helping artists around the world to learn, grow, and excel through a combination of events, community interactions, workshops organized with the world-renowned artists, while also providing an exclusive platform for showcasing their work and selling to a global audience. So, guys, before we move ahead, we will have a short audio visual by Design Hill or by and my print shop. But before that, let's say a quick hi to Catalina. Catalina, hi.
Hey everyone, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah. So, guys, just a small tutorial about print shop, and then we will straight away dive into the workshop.
Okay, I just realized that this is upside down, the second camera.
So guys, we are back, and guys, once again, we are conducting this workshop for you. And if something happens to the internet connection, if you seem to lose us, just be patient, and we will be back shortly. We will not leave you hanging in there. So yeah, now totally over to Catalina right now. Catalina, it's your playground. Take it ahead.
So I'm connecting the second camera right now because I got lost for a minute. So I'm going to talk about materials first and why the name of this workshop. So when I started lettering in Costa Rica, it wasn't so trendy and so popular as it is right now. So it was very hard for me to get my hands on professional tools. So I had to learn with whatever I had. We all have graphite pencils and
Hey guys, I guess there is some issue with the internet connection right now, but she will be back. So stay patient, and we'll be there right for you. And before we go ahead, and we are waiting for Catalina to join again, and she's back.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we missed you, Catalina.
Okay. So before the other camera hasn't connected yet. So I was telling you that I learned how to make letters using common office supplies such as text highlighters, pencils, and that helped me to take advantage of whatever information I could find in books and the things that I learned in classes. In the meantime, while I could get the professional tools. So teach you to Roman style letters, the ones that you could usually work with tools like these, the flat nibs or parallel pen pilot markers. And what we're gonna do is do the same thing, but with a chisel tip highlighter that you most likely already have at home, and two pencils wrapped around with a rubber band. So the idea is that I'll teach you how to understand the letter structure, the contrast, the type of strokes, the angles, and that you're going to be able to do it. If you do have the professional tools, then you can follow with this, or you can just use whatever you have in hand. the purpose of the workshop is that then you'll understand the structure and the content so that you can do freehand lettering style. But at first, maybe you don't understand which side, the thin strokes or the thick strokes go, or the serifs and so on. So the idea is that we can just learn all that, and the tool will give us the answers. And that's the cool thing about working simultaneously calligraphy and lettering, where if you don't understand how to use a calligraphy tool, then you can just correct it with your pencil while drawing the letter. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I think I am on stage. Can you confirm? No, I'm only having one camera, right? It's logging the second camera. So the idea is that you can see my hands while I'm working and explaining. So just bear with me.
Catalina, can you hear us? Hey guys, I guess there is some issue in the connection. So if you guys can hear us fine, can you drop a hi or something in the chat section? Oh, we lost her. So yeah, sorry for that, guys. The internet is not on the kinder side today, but yeah, we'll keep you engaged. And she's back.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm so sorry. This has been a headache for the past hour. We've been working on this, Rashmi and me. And it was fine an hour ago, and now we're having all the trouble that we can imagine. So
yeah, but it is actually worth the wait. I'm really pumped up for that now to have the workshop. I might draw along with you.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I hope you guys are ready with the tool. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna show you how to do it freehand to understand what I'm trying to achieve then with the tools. Okay. So the trick about using the two pencils together is that obviously they have to both be sharpened the same, and then you're just gonna have to put them like this on the table so that they'll be the same height. If you're a left-handed writer, then it will be easier for you if one of them is higher than the other one, okay? I'm right-handed, so I hope that you can just switch whatever instruction that I'm giving. If I'm saying left or right, then it's obviously going to be the other way around. But the position of the paper and the direction of the stroke should be the same, regardless if you're left-handed or right-handed, okay? So this is connecting. Let's just give it a minute and see if it works. Hopefully, cross your fingers. And here we go. Here we go. And here we go. So, as I was saying, what I'm gonna do is explain to you by how to do it freehand, and this is what I'm gonna try to achieve with the two tools afterwards. So Roman style letters are the letters that have high contrast. So it's the ones that, the opposite of script letters. So this is a script letter, and this would be a Roman style letter. So when we do add contrast to the letters for the Roman style, then we'll have thin strokes and thick strokes. So the idea is to understand where the thick strokes go and where the thin strokes go. So for this, we need to understand the angles and the correct position of the tool. So when we make letters, we're gonna imagine the angles. Oh, I lost the second camera, right?
Things are a little not less than perfect right now, but yeah, we're trying our best, and I hope you guys are with us right now. We're on the same team, guys. I'm trying to keep the sure. I will just drop the link. Okay. Katrina, can you share your Insta account link with me?
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
just, of course. Yeah, guys, here is the link, and you will. I will just drop the link in your inboxes as well. You will see it flashing on your screen, so you can just click and follow it.
Now, of course, everything is in Spanish because I'm from Costa Rica. But if you do have any questions, any inquiries about anything, then you just send me a DM, and then I'll translate anything that you need. Because actually, I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to talk about a practice sheet that I have available that is going to be super useful to do the letters that I'm going to teach you today. And this, you can actually download it from a web page. So I'm going to share the link with you in just a minute. So I think we're back here. Oh, now I have the pop-up window of the follow account. I'm just going to leave the link here, and you can search for the
So guys, I'll share the link with you. So it will just flash on your screen, and then you can of course download this awesome sheet and can upscale yourself. Hey guys, we are really sorry. There is some issue in the bandwidth actually, so that's why the connection is being on and off right now. And Agatha, yeah, we will try to take it forward today only. And if things doesn't go well, we will of course reschedule. Sam, I'm just sharing the link right now again. So here you go. So yeah, let us wait for Catalina right now, that if she can come back to join us, because bandwidth is not kind to us. And before we move forward, so guys, have you ever any webinars of us before? Have you been an audience at Designhill? Hey Shubhi, how are you? So Rupal, actually, you can follow Catalina on Instagram, just in case. So I guess we are getting it back. Yes, or we understand, but sometimes things are out of control. Yeah, Rahman, he's back. She's back now. So Catalina, our audience is actually missing you a lot.
Yeah, I am so sorry. Like, usually I do have a stable internet connection. It's just that today it's crazy apparently. So trying to log in with the second camera. So
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. We lost her again. But as you were talking about, so guys, have you ever attended live events of Designhill? So yeah, it doesn't really happen often. But sometimes they're tech things, and some things are beyond our control. We're trying to make the best of the situation right now. And we have a back again.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for bearing with me. I do promise that it's gonna be worth it. You're gonna learn a lot of things today. I promise. So, as I was saying, you can get this practice sheet from my website at home. It's gonna be very easy for you to follow everything that I'm gonna explain right now. Okay. So, as I was saying, you're gonna have to think about, I'm just gonna explain it here. You're gonna think about the angles. So on the angles, you're gonna have 45 degrees, and then based on that, I'm gonna say, lower, it's gonna be 20, 30 degrees, and here completely straight, it's gonna be 90 and 0 degrees. So I'm gonna talk about the positions of the tools based on those angles. And if you don't meet the right angle, then you're not going to be able to achieve the correct stroke for the letter. So let's see if... So Rashmi, I logged in as a guest, but I can't go on stage in the second camera now.
So let me just invite you once again. So it might make things a little bit easier for you.
I know I can just see myself, but I can go on.
Hey guys, I will request you guys to be a little patient because we all are struggling right now. But don't worry, things will be better. So guys, how many of you have an account in print shop right now? So guys, let's have a small talk of our own. So how many of you guys have account in print shop right now? How many are if you are the artists who are selling on print shop right now? Anyone of you? I know a few of you guys are there, but just in case, I may miss out anyone. It's not you must be on print shop because we provide a lot of liberties to you guys. Peter Saunders, Rupal Sharma. Hi guys, we will love to have you on board on print shop actually. Because in print shop there is no upper limit right now. You can set up as many commission as you want to. Once you have a design, we will take care of everything. Logistics, delivery, customer service. You just have to create the designs actually. Yeah, Dina, I know that I've seen you pretty active as well. So Catalina is back again.
Yeah, I'm back, but I just can't I just can't log in on stage on the second camera now. It just won't let me. So so I'm concerned about that because we didn't have a backup plan for this. So what I'm gonna try to do is to log in from the regular and just use that as the main camera, like we said before. And
Yeah,
you won't see my face, but you'll see my hands. And I think it's more important to see my hands in the explanation than to see my face. So just bear with me for 1 minute and we'll see if we can figure it out, okay?
Yeah, definitely, we are here. Yeah. Guys, once again, I want to thank you all for being so patient with us because, as you can see, Internet bandwidth is not very good right now from Catalina's angle. But yeah, we are trying our best. So thank you so much for being such an awesome audience. So guys, how many of you are full-time illustrators actually, or do you have a day job or design on the side? How many of you are like full-time artists, or you have some day job which keeps you occupied and you're designing right now, and later you can go full-time into it? Ah, oh, you're a teacher, Peter. That's great. And Priscilla, or you are a hobby lettering artist. So any plans to go full-time? And Victoria, we can do a live from Instagram profile, but there will be a problem in sharing the camera. And once you go through live stream, you will see the recording as well. From Instagram, it's not possible to have a recording. So so Priscilla is not. Yeah, we have a lot of aspiring artists now. Urban textile designer and Mariana before COVID. So Mariana, what are your plans right now? Post COVID, will you resume your work, or right now are you freelancing or something? Of course, it's a full time thing, but yeah, some people actually pursue it as a hobby. So I was thinking on those lines. Oh, you're a freelance artist, Mariana. That's good to know. Oh, so yeah, Peter is someone who is a technique junkie right now. He wants to improve his skills. Ah, and Peter, what do you teach actually, if I may ask? Mariana, you're a chocolate lettering artist, Shubhi Madan, lettering and design as a hobby, and I was just asking Peter that what do you teach actually? You're a teacher, I reckon, from your previous answer. So just wondering, what do you teach? Something in arts? Oh, brilliant, brilliant. We have an English teacher with us right now. And Balkis is a freelance artist. And Suman Kumasin is a graphic designer. We have people from all walks of life over here. Some are full time artists, some are freelance full-time artists. Daniela wants to learn the basics right now. So, guys, do you have any favorite designers or artists which you want to actually hear, so we can approach them to conduct workshops? So, if you have any favorite designers which you follow on Instagram, like anything, so we can approach them as well. We can arrange a workshop. And guys, on something which I guess you guys would love to know is on 20th of June we're conducting a workshop by Stephen Thomas. He is a master storyteller, and yeah, Paulina Bright. And Steve is conducting a workshop at Designhill on how to tell stories via design. He's giving a master class on that. So I would love you guys if you can register for the same event as well. It's free and it's live stream as well. It's on live stream as well. I'll share the link here. Always. Oh, you're a whiteboard person, Peter. Balgis, illustrator, designer, UI, UX, graphic designer. You're a triple threat, man. And a podcaster as well, Balgis. So one day we can use you at Designhill as well. Host a webinar. Why don't you share a link of your podcast over here? We can, be an audience of it. Should we have your feedback now? And definitely we'll reach out to Paulina Bright and we will try to come on board. And once she comes on board, you will receive the mail. Trust me.
Okay, so I have a plan B. So I'm just gonna do this on a board, and let's just forget about the second camera, and we'll just work around this, and I'll see how I can explain it to you. Okay, so I'm gonna enlarge the scale, and I'm gonna use board markers, and I think it should work. Tighten them up with the rubber band. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna teach you about the angles, and you're gonna try to follow with me, okay? So thank you so much for your patience. So now let's just get to it. So I was talking about the angles where you had, 45 degrees here. 90, and 0. So when you do work with a highlighter, then if you are right-handed, you know, you're gonna have the chisel is gonna be like this, or the higher part. Okay, so this way you can work around the angles. Okay, I'm back. So you can work
Yeah.
around, okay, you can work around the angles like this. So if you are, oh, I don't have the eraser here.
Hey Haddad, I know the it's pretty glitchy right now, but I hope it doesn't happen anymore now. Fingers crossed.
Okay, so this is the thing. You're gonna have to do this like 20 degrees. So this way, when you use both, when you do upstrokes, then it's gonna go one on top of the other, and it's gonna be a thin stroke. And then if you go down, you're gonna have a thick stroke, okay? So this is the structure that we're gonna do. What I had in mind was that I was gonna show you exactly, you know, how to do the alphabet of a Roman style letter. And what I used was the reference of the Didon font, with it, which is a high contrast typography. And I was going to teach you how to make, you know, uppercase and lowercase. So I'm going to do it on the whiteboard, and you're going to try to follow on paper, okay? Use it because it's exactly the same what I'm going to be doing with the pen and with the two markers, okay? So, you know, in case you don't know, then all letters have different heights. Have the X height, then you have ascenders and caps height.
So I guess we lost her again. Uh, things are tough today now. But yeah, you guys are being an awesome audience right now. You are there for us. We're in talks with Katrina as well. So we are helping her to try something out. So she can be with us.
Okay, so now I'm on my phone's internet, not my home internet. So let's see if that's more stable. I'm just trying to figure out how to make this work. Okay, so I was saying, so we have X height, baseline, ascenders, and then descenders. So in any regular font, it doesn't matter, then this would be the height for the lowercase, then lowercase ascenders, lowercase descenders, and then this would be the height for uppercase, okay? So this is what we're gonna try to be doing and following with the two markers, okay? So when we make letters, then you always need to remember that upstrokes are thin and downstrokes are thick. So maybe you're gonna have to do several strokes in order to obtain one letter. Let's say we're gonna do a lowercase a, then you would have upstroke thin, then downstroke thick, upstroke thin. And then you'll have the solution. Obviously, this is not tidy, but it will give you the sense in order to know in which direction you need to add the thickness. Because if you only have the thin stroke, then you most likely won't know where to add the thickness. And this way, it will give you a sense of direction in order to understand. You need to maintain the same angle throughout the entire alphabet, okay? It doesn't change. It just probably changes the direction. So I'm gonna start solving uppercase and then lowercase in order to let you know. For uppercase, you do change angles, and you're gonna have 3 angles. You're gonna have, based on the direction of your highlighter, the chisel tip, then this would give you, if you go down, it will give you a thick stroke. If you go horizontally, it will give you a thin stroke. This would be 90 degrees. This is 0 degrees. And then if you go up, it will give you a thin stroke, and this would be 45 degrees. So these are the 3 positions that you're gonna have to be rotating your highlighter, okay? If you do have any questions about the angles, please let me know, okay? So I was saying that this was very easy in order to follow with the practice sheet, because it does give you an image of the angle and then how many strokes you need in order to construct every single letter, okay? So what you need to keep in mind is that every letter has both thin and thick strokes, okay? Because it is a high contrast letter. Then you need to first build the structure of the letter and then add everything else, let's say the serifs, in case you do want to add decorations, or in order afterwards to build flourishes or anything else, okay? So for the uppercase, then something that you need to know, it's all letters from A to C. They're the same height. They go from the baseline to the tax height. So I'm going to start with A, and all the ones that do have diagonal lines. So it's going to be 45 degrees, and then on the same position, you're going to go 45 degrees in order to obtain the thick stroke. Obviously, then you're going to have to complete your strokes in order to have the full letter, okay? But this is going to give you a notion of where the thick and thin strokes go, okay? Other diagonal lines letters would be the V and the Z. The problem with the Z and the N is that if you just do it freehand, then maybe you're not going to be able to calculate the width of the letter. So what I usually suggest is in order to obtain a controlled width of the letter, is to first determine which is going to be the entire space where your letter is going to be. So you do the horizontal lines, and then you go ahead and do the diagonal line. The same with the N. So you're going to determine the width, and then you're just going to go ahead and draw the diagonal line. Obviously, then you're going to have to close the letters, because this is just a substitute for the professional tool, which the professional tool is completely flat. So we do need to keep that in mind, that it's different to have the chisel tip and the flat tip, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and show you again. So, flat tip and chisel tip, okay? So that angle is what's gonna leave us short in closing every single of the strokes in the letters, okay? So again, once you get the hang of this, you're gonna be able to do this freehand and know that you do need to add in which side you need to add the stroke, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and do the round ones. So summing up, for diagonals, it's the same angle going up and down. And when you have a diagonal with horizontal or vertical lines, not both diagonal, then it's easier if you do determine the width of the letter, or the height and the width of the letter, in order not to have a super open letter such like this. Because it's going to be way too wide, okay? Now, let's talk about the round letters. So for round letters, it's going to be 0 degrees all the way. It's just that you need to make a circle when you draw it. So you're going to go 0 degrees and then go down, circling, and that's going to give you the width. And then it's going to go and add up and become a thin stroke, okay? It doesn't matter the direction that you do it. You're going to obtain exactly the same. So please do let me know in your comments if you're using two pencils or you're using the chisel tip highlighter in order to make any other comments about it or explain any details, because it's going to be different and it's harder with the double pencils. It is easier with the highlighter. And of course, if you are familiar with the flat tip, then it's going to be super easy, definitely. Okay, yeah, well, this is not going to work with brushes, definitely. This has to be with an instrument that doesn't change the the width of the stroke depending on the pressure, but the direction. What we're focusing is direction, and that's what you need to keep in mind. Okay, so in case of the curved ones, then we're gonna have the B. Well, we have 0 degrees in order to have the vertical stroke, and then on the same spot you're gonna position your tool and then go horizontally 0 degrees, then the same 0 degrees but going down. It's gonna give you the thick stroke, and then you close. Okay, then of course you can add up your serifs and all the details that you want, and make it rounder or wider in case you do want to modify your letter. But this is going to give you a sense of how the contrast is going to be and how the structure is going to be. In case that you don't have experience with Roman style letters, then you don't know if you only have the skeleton and then add up the strokes. Okay. Now, with the B, it comes also the P and the R, and it's exactly the same. Now, you do need to keep in mind the upper part of the B is shorter than the P. The P goes a little bit below the X height, the middle line of the letter, and then the P, the R is like right in between. But this will give you even the possibility to make round letters, and you can actually make script lettering using double pencils. It's just that it's kind of harder, but if you eventually get the hang of it, you're definitely gonna be able to do like italic letters like this. Well, with the double pencil, it's harder. Let me show you with the chisel tip. I don't know if you can tell the contrast of the thin and the thick strokes, which this is thicker. But it's just a thing of the angle. So if you do keep it in 45 degrees, then you're just gonna have like to bounce your hand from one way to the other in order to use the tip of the marker, and then use all the side of the marker in order to obtain the thicker stroke. So definitely you're gonna be able to make and achieve different type of fonts with simple tools. Again, this is just to make a study of what then you're gonna freehand letter. But it's gonna give you an understanding of how to construct the letter. Okay. Now we do have other round shapes such as the C, and this is where I told you that probably you're gonna have two combination of strokes, where you're gonna have the round stroke, and then you're gonna do the same stroke but in the different direction. Okay. You're gonna avoid going up with a thick stroke, because that might confuse you the direction. Always try to keep in mind up strokes thin, down strokes thick, which is the basic rule for brush lettering if you do have experience. But we're gonna keep it exactly the same like this, and that's gonna give you an understanding of which direction and how many strokes you need in order to construct each letter. Okay. So then you can get from that same construction the letter G, okay, or the letter D. So this way, it's super easy to understand, where the transition from thin to thick goes and how it's not a sharp differentiation from thin to thick, but it does have a subtle transition for the strokes. Okay? If you do have any questions, I don't know, it hasn't popped up like questions so far, but there's a tab for questions. So if you do have any questions regarding any of the letters, please do let me know. Okay. Now, for example, for the O or in the Q, what we're doing is a modern style lettering, and the transitions, the axis of the letter is like right in between. So that will give you that way you're gonna be able to follow an easy way to know where to start your letters. Because if we did a humanist type of letters, then we would have a different angle. So you do need to find out and determine which font is the one that you're trying to achieve. And always do have a reference in order to pay attention of what you're copying and what you're trying to construct. Okay? Okay. I'll repeat the letter B before going any further with the O. Here goes the B. Then it's 0 degrees going down, gives me a thick stroke. 0 degrees going horizontally, it's a thin stroke. Then thick, thin, thick, thin. They're turning out to be very squared because of the position, but you should try to make them rounder. You just try to make them rounder when you do make the transitions. It doesn't have to be as squared as this. It's just that it's very uncomfortable for me for the position to be showing you without me, blocking the view of the whiteboard. Okay.
Catalina, we have a couple of questions actually.
I'm sorry.
Actually, Peter. Hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? So we have a question by Peter. He wants to know that why don't round letters keep the angle of 20 degrees?
Okay.
And should we would love to have a recap of letter B actually.
Okay, yeah. Well, I just did repeat the letter B. And about the angle. So for lowercase, we do have the angle of the 20 degrees. And for uppercase, it's just 0 and 90 degrees. And sometimes you do have the 20 degree slant. If you do make it 20 degrees all the time, then what it's gonna do is that the end strokes are gonna be, the end of the strokes are gonna be slanted. And then when you do complete the rest of the letter, then you're gonna have a gap, okay? So remember, this is not a precise tool, though saying that if you were using a professional tool. This is just a way to substitute and work with what you have in hand and give you the sense of where the thick and thin strokes go in order to understand it when you do draw it freehand, okay? So it is not as accurate as a professional tool. So that's why you do need to make certain adjustments, because if not, you're not going to be able to achieve the letter, okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and finish the round one. So I was saying about the modern letters. So you do have a central axis, and that's where you start your letter and you go 0 degrees and you complete one half of the O and then the other half of the O. You can narrow it down by making it even more straight, but it's the same construction where you have a thin transition where one and the other meet. One side and the other meet, okay? And obviously this would be the same for the Q. And the Q, it has the tail that goes like this, okay? So now I'm using the 45 degrees, the same that I use for the letter A, okay? in order to make this movement. Okay, I'm just gonna repeat it here. 45 degrees goes up, it's a thin stroke, goes down thick and thin. Okay? Now, what about the other letters that you were mentioning? Yeah, the K, it's definitely difficult. So you'll have 0 degrees, and then you'll have a thin stroke, and then thick stroke. Now, of course, you can then close the letters by adding the serifs. But that's going to depend on what you're planning on doing. You know, if it's going to be a sans serif, modern style Roman letter, or it's going to be a serif letter. And then, of course, you can make, you know, transitional serifs. But that's going to depend on what your typography reference is, the style you're trying to achieve. And you can, you know, use the same skeleton for all of the letters, and then just add up all the ornaments. Okay? Horizontal strokes are always thin. So, for example, for letter E and letter F, it's just going to be thin for the horizontal strokes, and letter F is exactly the same construction, -1 horizontal stroke, exactly like letter F. So you see that you do start repeating shapes, and that's the beauty of it, that you only have a limited amount of shapes in order, you only need to achieve a limited amount of shapes and then combine them in order to obtain the whole alphabet. So it would be the downstrokes horizontal, downstroke diagonal, and then downstroke curved. And basically with that, and the thin stroke horizontal and thin stroke diagonal. With a combination of these strokes, you can achieve almost the entire alphabet. Obviously, there are going to be a few of the letters that are going to be left out. And for example, letter S that you were asking, then letter S, you do need to start with the angle, the 45-degree angle, the same angle that you were using for the A and the V, okay? Now, you're going to do it in 2 strokes. So one is going to be the main stroke of the S, and then you just extend the tip, the top and the bottom, okay? So I'm going to repeat it. It's just like this. Again, this is just in order to give you the sense of the main structure, and then you're going to add up additional parts of the letter, not with just one movement. You're going to achieve everything with the double pencils or with the chisel tip marker, okay? But the position is exactly the same. Now, you can have this type of S that has thick at the end of the main stroke, okay? But that's going to depend on your style. Yes, it is hard, and you do need to practice, but this will give you enough information for you to then, you know, just print out an alphabet that you do like and then try to repeat it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the lowercase, which is a complete different world, and you do have different shapes there. It's not as easy as the uppercase. Okay, the S again, of course, then it's just 45 degrees, and then you do need to move it, making it, you know, the curve. Something that you do need to keep in mind for letter S is that letter S is a diagonal letter, which sometimes we tend to draw it as a horizontal letter. And if you do try to make this horizontal stroke, remember the horizontal strokes are thin, so it's going to be no good. So if I do try to make this construction, then it's going to look terrible. So you do need to keep in mind that letter S is diagonal, okay? And when you do this freehand, what you need to pay attention is you do need to pay attention to the small details, where you do have a constant width along the entire stroke, and it's only when you do get to the top and bottom Like if you know, this is north and this is south, and when you're up, you're almost reaching north, that is when you start, you know, making a thinner stroke. So if you do this freehand, then you need to remember a constant stroke throughout the entire letter, and only here in the transition, it's gonna be thin, okay? So again, this is gonna give you information to make studies, and then try to translate that to freehand letters. Another question.
I have a question by Amrita right now. And she wants to know, can you please show start before on your wall is done? So that section actually.
Oh, here?
Yeah,
This?
yeah, the wall hanging, yeah.
Okay. Now, you can then make variations and, you know, add some spice to it, and it doesn't have to be, you know, all so structured, and you can change it. So let's say, you know, we had a lot of questions about the letter B. So I'm gonna make the example with letter B. And so now this is very structured, but what if I, you know, now that I understand where the thick strokes and the thin strokes go, then I can make a variation. I do have my skeleton here. And let's say, you know, well, I'm gonna use a different color. What if, you know, I do it like this and emphasize on the letters, you know, on the shape. Now, when you color it, you can, you know, appreciate the details of the transitions, but it's exactly the same. It's only that now I emphasize, you know, a thicker union of, you know, of the straight, the vertical stroke with the round stroke, and now this is not all the same width, but, you know, I emphasize on the tip here, and now you can make flourished letters and, you know, add some personality to your letters. So what we're seeing is just a guide, and I always say you need to learn the rule in order to break it. Because if you don't understand the basic rule and you just try to do this without understanding where it's coming from, most likely it's not going to look nice. So do try to control your basic letters, and then you can, you know, spice it up, okay? So I'm going to go ahead. How are we on time? Since we lost like 30 minutes trying to figure out, you know, the connection, now that it's stable and I do have a whiteboard, how are we on time? I can't hear you. You're muted.
We actually have 7 minutes left.
How many?
I'm pretty sure 7 minutes, 7.
Only 7 minutes? Oh.
Yeah, but we extended. We can have an extra 10 minutes if you like to use them.
Okay, so can I have like an extra 5 minutes?
Yeah, of course. We can have 10. Let's go for 10 minutes.
Okay, 10 extra minutes. Okay, that's more than enough in order for me to explain the lowercase. I hope that everyone that's logged to the class can stay for the extra 10 minutes. Thank you so much for your patience. Okay, so for lowercase, most likely you're just gonna use one same angle, and that's gonna be, you know, the 45, 30 degrees. Depending on what the angle is, then they're gonna have thicker, thinner strokes, okay? Because when we were using the 0 degrees and the 90 degrees, all our thin strokes were super thin. But if we do bend it a little and we slant it, then we're gonna have thicker, thin strokes. This is what I mean. If it's 20 degrees, then let's say that now my thin stroke, it's gonna be thicker, okay? So this is the thing that we can definitely start mixing up. But what you need to understand is that you need to pick a style so that your uppercase and your lowercase, they match, okay? Because if not, it's gonna be, I always say, like letters are part of a family that share one last name. So they might be cousins, but they're not brother and sister, okay? So you need to pay attention to those small details in order to make them match and be one single family under one family name, okay? Oh, that's awesome that you do want a part 2. Yeah, I do have so much more to share that if we hadn't lost any time at the beginning, we would have taken advantage of the class. So thank you so much for your interest. Okay, so now we're gonna try to keep that our thin strokes, even though we're now using the 30 degrees, that our thin strokes are still thin, okay? So that they'll match our uppercase that we worked before, okay? So now, I'm gonna go ahead and solve the letters by group with all the similarities of the strokes that are repeated. For example, we do have the straight vertical stroke, that this would be part, for example, of the letter H. It would be the same for the letter B. It would be the same for the letter D. Now, this is where it gets tricky, because then you start seeing where the transition is, and it changes depending on the position, because the shapes are narrower. So you do need to pay attention to your reference, to the typography that you're trying to replicate, okay? So that you just can't. The idea is not to leave it on your sketches with your double pencil, because probably it's going to be dirty, probably it's not gonna be neat. For example, I was making some sketches when I was warming up for the class, and look, it's not tidy, okay? So please don't feel don't stress about it if your sketches are not tidy. This is just for you to understand where the thick strokes go and where the structure is, okay? Then you, of course, can go and grab a different pencil and then, clean the end of your shapes and add the serifs, and then you can color it and do whatever you want, okay? So this is just to understand the basics of it, okay? Now, like I was saying, then you share the same shape with different letters. Let's say letter K, letter P, letter Q, X, Y, Z. Oh no, Z is diagonal. Okay. Yeah, well now I'm doing diagonals. I didn't realize I was switching to diagonals. But then it's the same. So some of the positions are going to be exactly the same as the uppercase, but then we're going to have to understand, that some of the heights are different, and for example, the combined shapes, that when we were doing the uppercase Y that I didn't do, it went like this. And definitely it's different with the lowercase because, it has a descender. So you do need to take that into consideration. For example, the letter G is one that's very difficult. It's very tricky. And it's tricky when you do it freehand. So I love it that with this double pencil method, then it's very easy to understand where the thick strokes and the thin strokes go. So that letter G, look how easy it is to build it with the double pencils. And then you can understand where the transitions go, in case you didn't know how to do it freehand. What other letter am I missing out that it's important? Well, letter J, for example, it would go with 2 strokes, 1 downstroke, then you need to start, doing the curve, and then both strokes are gonna meet, and then you're gonna do a second stroke. And this is where I told you that you do need to be paying attention and be aware that, downstrokes always go from top to bottom. So this way, you won't do this with letter J, for example, with the end of letter J, that's a thick stroke, you go down, and you don't want to go upwards like that, okay? You want to do it in 2 movements, okay? So down and then down. So that way, you're going to be able to make a round shape on both sides, okay? So you're asking for letter E, P, L, okay, letter E, J, L, M, okay. So letter E, there are several types of ways to do letter E, especially taking into consideration what the reference of the alphabet that you're doing, right? So you can do it in 1 movement, but then you would be doing, like horizontal thin, and then up thick, and then down thick. And that's what I'm trying you to avoid in case you're not familiar with the structure of the letter. But then to cut it here and do it in 2 movements, where it would be down thick, and then horizontal thin, okay? Letter L, well, letter L, there's really no biggie to that letter. There's your L. Of course, you can, in case you do add serifs, then now it looks more like an L and would be exactly the same as an I here. And letter T would be exactly the same. Remember that letter T is shorter. It's not as high as the rest of the ascenders. Okay, it's shorter. So you do need to keep it very close to the X height. Okay? The horizontal stroke goes very close to the X height, and only a bit goes higher than that, and it's shorter than the ascenders, okay? And finally, letter M. It's the same structure as we were doing with the I, and then like the H, okay? So you do have a thin stroke going up, and that's where the 2 colors meet, and then the second one goes like that. I'm gonna try to do it like this because it's all crooked. And there you go. Okay, so am I missing any of the letters? The letter S in lowercase is exactly the same as the uppercase, where you do a diagonal and then you just close it. Okay? And for example, the W, that's a tricky one, okay? Because what usually happens is that you do think that, you do have the V, and then, the W, it's 2 times the V. But if you do end it up and you go all the way to the X height and you do start from here, it's going to be super wide, and you don't want that. You do want to, so what's the word? When one goes on top of the other. I lost the word for that. So it's going to be shorter. The up stroke is going to be shorter. So you go down, you go up, and you're going to like end right there in between. So then when you do the other one, it's narrower. Okay? So don't go all the way up, but cut it right there in the middle. Okay? And I think, are we up on time? In case you're talking, I can't hear you.
No, no, no. Oh, I'm not saying anything
Oh,
actually.
okay.
I'm listening. Yeah.
So
So guys, we have time. We can have like 4 extra minutes more, 4 to 5 extra minutes more.
okay.
So
So
Katrina, will it be enough for you?
I don't know if you have any. Oh, you someone asked for the ampersand. Okay, the ampersand. Now the ampersand is definitely tricky because you need to decide which type of ampersand you want, and there's so many type of ampersands. So do define that before. So there's your ampersand, like your standard ampersand. So it's 2 strokes. I'm gonna repeat it. So it's the diagonal. It starts in 0 degrees, and it's the diagonal. It goes like that, horizontal, the diagonal, and thin. Which is easier to understand than do it freehand, and then trying to add the strokes. Letter E.
It seems people actually are very enjoying. They're
Good.
enjoying a lot actually. Yeah, they're
I'm
very
so
interactive.
happy. I told you that it was gonna be worth it. I hated that I had so many technical difficulties at first because I had tons of paper and practice sheets planned and everything. But well, uh,
So Katrina, what do you say? Can we arrange a part 2 of the workshop if it's fine with
yes,
you?
definitely, I would be delighted. And then we'll figure it out. I'll just plan everything ahead with the whiteboard, or see if we can figure out the second camera, or
Of
maybe
course.
my
So
internet
guys,
connection is more stable next time.
so guys, stay tuned. We will be back with part 2.
Yes,
So yeah, you will
yes.
have a better time.
So letter E, just to end. Then, well, uppercase, it would be straight, vertical, horizontal thin, horizontal thin, horizontal thin. And lowercase, then it would be the round stroke, and then on top, the second thick stroke, and then thin. Okay? Now, again, it depending on the reference, it might not have a modern axis, right in between where the transition, it's right there, but it could be slightly slanted, and then it would look like this. So you do need to pay attention to what your reference is in order to see where the transitions go. Now, I'm gonna share the link for this practice sheet. Again, the web page is in Spanish. I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see if, yeah, if it works.
And
Okay.
guys,
So this is my web page, and what I'm gonna share with you is the link in order to access, this guide where you can, you just add to the card. Again, all instructions are in Spanish. I do apologize. So, and I don't know if it works, like automatic page translation. I don't know if that's
yeah, it
enabled
works.
in my web page.
Yeah, it works actually. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
Oh, okay. So you can pay with PayPal, and it's $2, $2 American, and you can download the sheet. I'm gonna copy the link here, and
And
here's the.
and we are at the end of the workshop now. We actually surpassed the end even now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I
So you
am.
can share the link, and then we can of course
I'm
arrange a
sharing
part
the
2 of
link,
the
but
workshop.
it doesn't work. So I'm just gonna copy it here in the chat, and you
Yeah,
can
you
have
can over that and I can share it. Yeah, I will just share the
Yeah,
link
and
with
you will go ahead and share it. So
you.
again, everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. It was my pleasure. I hope that you did learn a lot, and I hope to see you in a part 2. We'll definitely schedule it. There's so much we can work around script lettering, other type of fonts, other tools, professional tools. The idea was, since we are all being safe at home, work with what we already had available, but we can definitely, let you know in advance in order to go and get the special tools. So thank you so much. Greetings from, across the globe in Costa Rica. In case you didn't know, Central America, very far away from most of you are. So thank you so much for connecting today.
Hey guys, I hope you had a good time, and of course, could have been better. But we'll be back with part 2. And Catalina, thank you so much for your time, and we would love to see you again very, very shortly because people are really pumped up to see you again.
Great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Have an awesome week, everyone.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
for the
Catalina.
extra time and for staying and bearing with me.
Our pleasure, our pleasure. And guys,
Okay,
have a great time and keep yourself safe. And we will be back soon.
okay, great. Thank you. See you, everyone. Bye.
Bye bye.